What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Week 2 edition Sunday Sideline Report here on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube channel. Mike, the old ops guy with you. Old ops guy, how we feeling?
It's Sunday. It's Dallas Giants Day. I feeling good. We out hunting some Giants.
Rip Andre the Giant. Happy September 14th to everybody. We're going to talk Week 2. We'll get into Giants, Cowboys. We will get into a lot of stuff. But let's start with Thursday night, where we saw the Green Bay Packers move to 2-0 as they defeated the Washington Commanders by a score of 27-18. Hold on, as I'm pulling up statistics from the game. So I wait on the ESPN app to load. Jane Daniels, 24-42, 200 yards on the dot, 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, who wound up leaving the game, we'll get into that in a minute. 8 carries, 17 yards. Zach Ertz, 6 receptions, 64 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Love, 19 of 31, 292 and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs added 84 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And Tucker Kraft, 6 catches, 124 yards and a touchdown. As the Packers move to 2-0, the Commanders go to 1-1. Next week, the Commanders will be playing the Raiders. That's actually a very interesting game. And the Green Bay Packers will be playing the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. So, old ops guy, I'll start with overall thoughts on what took place Thursday night at Lambeau Field.
The statement comes back from one of their defensive coordinator. You put up 20 every game, we can win every game. This defense is a good defense, and Micah Parsons just made it even better. I mean, it was good before Parsons. It just got even better with him, with the addition. Green Bay played a solid game. Again, another very balanced game between the pass and the rush and the defense doing its job. As Mike led into, we have some injuries to talk about, mainly on the Washington side. But the big story Thursday was really Tucker Kraft having really much a great day with, as Mike said, 6 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. He's starting to turn more out like TJ Hawkinson and Sam Laporta year after year. He's starting to become even though he's been in for 2 years, he's starting to turn into a much more complete tight end. We haven't really seen the emergence of much anybody else behind him because everybody's injured. I just wish they could find a way to get Matthew Golden more involved.
And that's going to be something they're going to have to figure out, getting Golden involved. Eventually, they're going to get Christian Watson back. They just gave him a 1-year extension as well. But I think you kind of hit it with the defense because if you listen to Wishbone Shotgun a couple of weeks ago after the Parsons trade went down, myself and Noah both said the same thing, and that was the pressure shifts now to Jordan Love because this is the Packers saying, hey, we believe in you enough that we are going to get this all pro defensive guy, defensive star. We're going to give up 2 first-round picks, which, by the way, in Green Bay Packerland, kind of unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
They don't trade draft picks for players. Ask Aaron Rodgers about it. and we are going to presume you're going to keep ascending into one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. We believe you've got all the weapons around you. You brought up Golden and Kraft, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. The list goes on and on. So it's now on Jordan Love to be that dude. They paid him. They've now paid him in players as well. So now they're going to have to figure out if he's the guy. And so far, he's played fairly well through 2 games.
Yeah, Jordan Love has definitely come out. I hate to say it like this, but reborn. The first 2 games, we have seen him make very few mistakes, which is good. I mean, even some of his incompletes were balls that hit off the hand or were knocked away. His passes have been pretty much on point to start this season. Is it possible to keep that up for 17 weeks? I don't know, but it's definitely a good sign if you're a Green Bay fan, the way the Packers have come out and played these first 2 games of the season.
Look, and the jury's going to be out. You're going to be judged on this, Jordan Love. You're going to be judged on if you can win a ring now.
Yep.
That's what the Packers are saying. So we'll see what happens there. Flip it to the Commanders. One of the things I'm done with is I'm tired of hearing the Jordan Love is a 1 year kind of wonder. I'm not giving up on a guy 2 games into the season.
It's way too look, even when Jordan Love took over for Rodgers, I will be one of the ones who said, I don't know if he's going to be able to come through. He's proving me wrong. If I'm wrong, I admit it. I'm glad to see he's falling into that lock role like Aaron Rodgers had before him and Brett Favre before him. I just hope truly he's not going to have an Aaron Rodgers existence when it comes to the Super Bowl and only have that one appearance where he's going to have that one chance.
Where are you on Daniels through 2 games?
Well, with Jaden Daniels, he didn't have a bad game 24, 42, 202. I would think you can't say much about his play because, yeah, his accuracy was a little bit worse than last week, but he still didn't throw any picks. He's 1-1, but now he's injured, which is a bigger problem. We'll see how he goes through week 3. I'm still sold on Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to lead the Commanders to an NFC East title, whether it is this year, which I'm pretty much the lock on, and next year.
The one thing I'll say about Washington is, or a few things I'll say, they're going to have to figure out how to get Terry McLaurin involved more. But I
Yep.
do think that is going to have to do with how long he was out in training camp.
Absolutely.
So that,
Conditioning is a big key.
yeah, so they're going to have to get him more involved. They will not be able to get Austin Eckler more involved as he's done with a torn Achilles. That makes the Brian Robinson trade look even weirder now.
Well, it looks worse. Now, what do you do if you're the Reds? Sorry, if you're the Commanders? That was a Freudian slip. I am so sorry. What do you do if you're the Commanders? You have a third and a fourth slot running back as your starters right now.
Well, there's nothing out there on the market
Unless you can pull off a trade.
unless you pull off a trade. Right now, I don't even know who'd be on the trade market.
Don't know either, but you have to figure that the Commanders are going to need to replace this and fast because I don't know about Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt much. I have to really look into him more to be able to talk eloquently. But he only had 4 carries for 17 yards.
Well, everything you hear, they've liked him. They like him enough. They like him enough that they trade Brian Robinson. So there's that. So we'll see what happens there. So the Commanders go to 1-1, Packers 2-0, and kind of leading into this, and we'll talk more about the Packer defense because they put on a show last week against the Lions. It continued this week against the Commanders. This defense can be, if they can stay healthy, can be ferocious and
Yeah,
legit.
definite great pass rush, a good spy linebacking crew, and the secondary has done its job. You know, you want to be able to come out and play both sides of the ball, and that's what Green Bay is doing. They are covering each side of the ball and playing almost errorless.
And then they get the Browns next week, which is kind
Which
of.
is a tougher defense. So we'll see what can Jordan Love do against a top five tier
I'm
defense.
talking about from a defensive standpoint. You get Joe Flacco, who's as mobile as you and me.
Right. I'm just saying, Parsons and crew are going to be licking their chops. But that Cleveland defense is a good defense. So it's going to
Yeah.
be up to the Green Bay defense possibly to win this game.
And they held the Bengals in check, and the Bengals found a way to win a week one game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so some other things we could talk about from last week. I want to start with the team that I wasn't the most surprised with. And I was really hoping we'd have Dan here, but Dan had some issues, so he's not here. But I wanted to talk about the impressive play of Justin Fields because I thought he was excellent last week. And I actually thought the Jets did a really good job of calling plays for him, which I felt in Chicago at times. There were not enough designed runs for him, and he was more scrambles. Last week, the Jets said, we're going to have some designs. And I don't remember when where it was, but it was, I think, fourth quarter. And I think it was third or fourth and goal. And they just play action bootleg Justin Fields walk in for a touch. And I said, damn, that is a great play call. And I think that's the best game I've seen Justin Fields play in his pro career.
And I don't disagree with you there. I mean, Justin Fields did have a few games in Chicago that were extraordinary, but this was the first game that was more designed around him and not the team around him, which was, as Mike pointed out, he had 12 rushes for 48 yards, but there's a key stat there: 2 touchdowns. In Chicago, that's what we thought he was going to be. They never developed him in that, and that's why it made no sense for them to go get Caleb Williams in my mind at the time. So you now take Justin Fields and you put him on no offense to Chicago, you put him on a legit team with young receivers, young running backs, a solid defense, and you challenge him to play. He came out and did just that. 16 to 22, 218 and 1 touchdown, and then 2 touchdowns on the ground. He put up a 3-spot day for your Jets, and then you have Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, who had great games. You have a triplet there and a good young one that has time to develop more and become even more dangerous over the next year.
Well, Brees Hall's a free agent at season's end, so we'll see what happens there. I think the one thing they are lacking offensively is a number two receiver.
Absolutely.
That is their big issue offensively. But we'll see if Justin Fields can continue. We'll get into that game later. But on the other side, Aaron Rodgers played a a
right?
typical Aaron Rodgers game.
22 of 30, 244 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'll be 1,000% honest. I didn't think he would throw more than one the whole game. I'm glad I didn't take him in anything or I would have lost. He played an amazing game. I think a lot of it had a lot of fuel and energy, feeling the fact that he was playing against the former team he was with.
Yep.
But, I mean, Pittsburgh is never a slouch, especially with that receiving core, and you got an accurate quarterback.
I kind of liked his post game comments too. Like, yeah, I wanted to stick it to the Jets. I mean, if that's going to be your motivation, okay, that's your motivation for the year.
Right.
Um, do I think Pittsburgh's going to be the end all be all this year? No,
No.
but we know Pittsburgh; they always find a way.
And with Tomlin as that coach and his impressive record,
Oh
you
God,
can see how and why.
yeah, they're going to find another way to get in, and but for them to get in, they have to shore up their defense because that
Yeah,
defense got shredded.
it did. And no no diss against the Jets offense. But this was the weakest I've seen the Pittsburgh defense in a long time.
Yeah,
And if they play like that, they're gonna have to force Aaron Rodgers to play like that every single game. Then you're talking a different story.
yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to win games scoring 30 a game.
No, they're gonna have to
Uh,
win games via shutting teams down with that defense.
and so, for if you're a Steeler fan, hopefully that was just a week one thing, and that defense will right itself. Um, just keep it going here. Um, how concerned are you about the Lions after that performance at Lambeau?
Glad you threw it over to me on that, considering I covered the Lions for the network. I had said last week that the Lions front line was the strongest part of that defense, and the secondary was going to be concerning. Well, we saw exactly what happened. They were picked apart by Green Bay last week. And again, that's where we saw Jordan Love have his first good game of the season, and then against a NFC East championship game team here. The Lions came out and played, in the immortal words of Rick Zolzer, I wish he was a sponsor, Kaka. They played horrible. Goff was uh, uh, just out of sync with everybody. Gibbs and Montgomery couldn't get anything to work with. And the only person who really had a bright day was Jameson Williams, but he just signed a $90 million extension, so he better have something. The Lions go up against the Bears this week, which is not.
Get into more of that in a bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Lions face off against the Bears this week. It'll be a different test, but if the Lions secondary comes out like they did and plays off and does not match up right, they're going to have the same type of trouble they did against Green Bay.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And then we had the game. We might have had the game of the year in week one last Sunday night in Buffalo, where the Ravens, well, let's just call it what it was. The Ravens choked. But there's another thing I want to talk about before I get into the game.
Please, I hope it is what I hope it is.
We as fans
Thank you.
pay pay the price of admission for a ticket. That doesn't give you the right to be an absolute buffoon. If you didn't see this, Lamar Jackson threw a touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins, and as they're celebrating, I believe this was a Bills fan. I don't think it was a Ravens fan.
It was a Bills fan.
Kind of pushed at the helmet of Hopkins and then pushed at the helmet of Lamar Jackson, which caused Lamar to respond with a little shove. The league did not fine Lamar, which, by the way, well done by the NFL. And that fan has been banned from every stadium, which I'm
I mean,
not sure how they enforce it, but well done.
eh, that's pretty much a key question: is how are they going to enforce it? But that's up to NFL properties and security. I'm sure they'll do what they need to do. This was a great football game. I enjoyed it up until the last seconds of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding this, I mean, how drunk, stupid, high you have to be to put your hands on whether it's another fan, let alone a player who's on the field, who can rightfully any one of them kick your ass at any time. But you have no right to touch it, whether it's MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, windsurfing, whatever. You have no right as a fan, unless it is a celebratory high five that the actual player initiates, to put your hands on a player at any time. And this guy is lucky that Lamar Jackson did not act like Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson does not take shit from fans. And the casual pushback that he did could have been a lot worse. As Jackson said, and quote, nobody's going to put their hand on my teammate, let alone me, and I'm not going to respond, unquote.
I'm thinking about some guys like back in the day, if you were to put your hands on them, how they would respond.
Back in the
And
day, it would have been settled with a, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's go get a whiskey.
would have been sell with, hey, that guy's gonna need the EMTs.
Right.
Listen, you paid for the ticket. You could say what you want, but you can't touch the players.
Right.
Whether it's facilitated by alcohol, as you said, or just straight up being an idiot, it's just something that can't and should not happen.
Correct.
Otherwise, they're going to put up netting like they do now in Major League Baseball stadiums.
That'd be funny. Get chicken wire.
So we'll see what happens. But as you said, this was a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar, one of Lamar's best games of his career. Derrick Henry was awesome until he fumbled. And then Josh Allen played out of his mind.
Josh Allen played like we expected, but juiced. I didn't expect almost 400 yards out of him against the Ravens. I expected him to come out and play a great game, but I didn't expect that. He played phenomenally.
And there's one person today who should be feeling all the pressure in the world. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Derrick Henry. It's not anyone on the Ravens player cycle. John Harbaugh. How many games have the Ravens had these big leads in over the years and they've just choked them away?
Honestly, I can think of a couple. I can't sit and tell you the stats or anything from it. No coach likes to lose via the comeback, especially when 22 points are put up in the fourth quarter.
But, and here's the thing, they had the chance to seal the game. 4th and 3. I think they were at their own 37 or 38. They were near the 40.
Okay.
Minute or so left. You get the first down, it's game over.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills hadn't stopped Lamar or Derrick Henry all night. and you punt the football to give it back to Josh Allen, who has shredded your defense all night. I'm sorry. If I'm going down with the Titanic, I'm going down with Lamar and Derrick Henry getting that opportunity.
I mean, either look at it, you look at it this way, either way, let's say they got 6 yards instead of seven. You're giving the ball back to Buffalo anyway. If you would have punted it, if they punted it and went out of bounds, they get it at the 20. So you're talking about a matter of 10 yards. You take that risk. Give it, like Mike said, if you look at the numbers, 29 rushes for 238 yards, and they were averaging 8.2 as a team. If that number was around 5 or 4, I would say no, we're not going to risk it. But if you're averaging 8 yards a rush, I agree with Mike. You take that risk and ice this game up.
By the way, Adam Schefter just dropped a
Oh,
Schefter bomb.
I don't know.
So today, the Baltimore Ravens host the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah,
According to Adam Schefter, the Baltimore Ravens planned to take Shador Sanders in the fifth round of the draft this past year.
never heard that, but okay.
The former Colorado star let it be known that he didn't want to be on a roster with Lamar Jackson where he would be a backup.
Are
Sanders
you
wound up going 3 picks later to Cleveland.
look? No offense to no offense to Shador, no offense to the Sander family, and that includes Dion. Are you fargin stupid? I look. I had enough of it when it was Eli Phillip Rivers. Yeah, I had to stop and think, make sure I got that right. When it was Eli Phillip Rivers, that Eli would never play for the Chargers, and he ended up going to the. This is just petty. You could have been sitting back up to Lamar, or let's face it, he would have been third depth as a rookie. But look at the team you would have been on. But because of your pride, you're going to go sit in Cleveland where they want you gone already?
What better place to be, though, than Baltimore?
I mean, the town, the city might not be what it was 50 years ago, but the team sure is playing like it.
I don't get that one. Just adds more motivation to the game if you're a Raven fan. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, the Ravens will look to go to one. Both teams will look to go 1-1. The Ravens look to bounce back again after their loss to the Bills, and the Browns look to respond after losing to the Bengals. So there is also a game today in New Orleans where the Niners will be playing the Saints. The starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers this week is not Brock Purdy. It's not Joe Montana. It's not Steve Young. It's not even Jeff Garcia. It'll be Kraft macaroni and cheese, Mac Jones, as Brock Purdy is out with some form of turf toe, is what they're saying.
That is the report on the right foot where he plants and throws. He's dealing with, they called it it's a toe ligament jam, which is basically turf toe in so many words, but it's not as severe as it could be. That's why he's only going to miss between 2 and 5 weeks. They think he'll be back by the fourth week.
And this is also a Niner team that'll be without George Kittle, who's on IR with a hamstring.
Also out for the next 4 weeks, at least.
At least four. Listen, I thought the Niners had changed the corner, turned the corner. But damn, these injuries keep piling up for them every freaking year.
Yep. And now you're taking a guy who, not to take Chris Collinsworth's stance, taking a guy out of New England and from New England who had a subpar time as a first round draft pick for them. And now you're thrusting him into a San Francisco lineup with probably one of top five running back in football with Christian McCaffrey, who thank God for this team is healthy. But you also have to remember that Trent Williams is also down, and so is Juwan Jennings. He is a possible to play. He's not a guarantee to play today. So you have to look to the fact that Mac is not going to be throwing the ball a lot unless it's to McCaffrey. McCaffrey is going to have a big day in New Orleans.
And here's the other thing. They're going up against Spencer Rattler.
They're going to rattle him, all right.
So the defense is going to have to do its job. But the Niners make you want to believe, but then there's just so many damn injuries. Now, they had a chance to actually, there was talk when Mac Jones was drafted that year that the Niners had the interest. They wound up taking Trey Lance instead.
Right.
We all know how that turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a possibility, hey, maybe Mac Jones in Kyle Shanahan's system could reinvent himself, kind of like what Sam Darnold did a couple of years ago.
When he was in Carolina, yeah. Not
No,
Carolina.
when he was in
New
San
Orleans.
Francisco,
I meant to say San
you know, where he got some playing time. And then he went to Minnesota, did what he did, and now he's the quarterback in Seattle. So there's an opportunity here for Mac Jones to say, you know what? I'm not done. I'm going to reinvent myself here in San Francisco. So see what happens. We get the Niners and the Saints this afternoon. I think that's a 1 o'clock kickoff. And then there's the what took place in Indianapolis last week. And I'm not even talking the Indy 500. Although Daniel Jones looked like he ran laps around the Dolphin defense. And according to reports, there was a players only meeting after the game, which I'll get to in a minute. I do want to say one thing before we get into the game. At least the Dolphins scored a touchdown. There you go, Giants fans. There's your one dig. Look.
Go ahead,
Go,
Mike.
no,
Now,
go ahead.
no. This is all you.
All right. I'm going to try to keep this as professional as I can. To the head coach, whom I actually happen to like, your team was unprepared. To the quarterback, whom I believe gets a bad rep, mainly due to injuries. You can't turn the football over 3 times. Together, to quote the greatest Met manager of all time, Terry Collins, your ass is in the jackpot. You are both putting yourselves on the hot seat. The contract does not matter for either one. And if you continue to play, let me be blunt here, shitty football, you're not going to be there at the end of the day. But the other person at blame would be the general manager, who, for some reason, continually gets a pass from this owner who I don't know what he sees. He's 80 something years old. I don't even know if he's paying attention anymore. I'm not saying this team is a playoff team, but I damn sure expect better than what I saw last week out of the against the Indianapolis Colts. And if you don't do it today against the New England Patriots, at home, a team you've owned recently, we're going to need a serious conversation. And if you lose 33 to 8, don't bother coming back to work on Tuesday.
See, I had sent Mike the notice that the Miami Dolphins were offering open tryouts for quarterback. He just didn't seem that interested. I
I
watched that.
cannot throw a football. I'll be blunt. I can't throw a football.
Neither can Tua, so you have a lot in common. Um,
I'm not touching that on air.
um, I haven't seen a team come out and bomb so bad in a long time. That was expect. I mean, look, if they lost, they lost, but I did not expect Miami to get as blown out as they did. They couldn't get anything going offensively. They're looking towards a MILF Hunter to take them through week two. I don't know what the right answer is for Miami. You got two prime receivers. You got a decent tight end. Your defense isn't all that great, but your offense can't be putting up 8 points a game. You have to come out here. And when I think of Miami Patriots, I think of what was it, the kickoff return or
The
the last
Miami
second?
Miracle.
Yeah, I don't remember whether it was a kickoff or whatnot.
It was not a kickoff. It was an
Oh,
actual.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That ended up turning in going in for a touchdown at the end of the game with no time left. That's the team that needs to show up. They have to be able to go out and match score for score and wake up.
And if you don't wake up, you'll be literally sleeping with the fishes. All right. So that game is also there. Uh, some of the other games we got, we talked a little bit about both these teams earlier. We got the Bills going to MetLife to play the Jets. Ironically enough, both teams played really well offensively last week. But now both teams are going to need their defenses to turn it around here.
The Jets have to come out and do the impossible. And that's stop Josh Allen in his tracks. And that's not going to be easy. Josh Allen is good. We've said it before. Again, he's not going to go perfect for 17 weeks. But the Jets have to shore it up a little if they want to be able to stay in this one.
And look, I think the interesting thing is Josh Allen's never really played great at MetLife Stadium. But I don't know if that was Robert Sala's defense or whatnot. But feels like MetLife has always given him a little bit of an issue. Maybe he hates Snoopy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But other side of it, I think a key guy for the Bills defense today is going to be Matt Milano. Probably have to play that spy position on Justin Fields on the quarterback run. So and
And at
Brees.
least Matt,
Hmm?
and at least Matt, Brees Hall, I'm glad you brought him up quickly, had an outstanding game last week.
Yep.
This Bills defensive line is a lot stronger, so we'll see if he's able to keep it going.
Well, I think the interesting thing about Brees Hall is the Jets stayed committed to the run that whole game last week. And things will change obviously if they fall behind on 14-0, 10-0.
Right.
But man, they were very much committed to the run game. So we'll see what happens there. The Bills and the Jets. We've also got your Cowboys hosting the other New York team, the Giants.
1 o'clock showdown in Arlington, Texas. The Cowboys will be hosting the New York Football Giants today at 1 o'clock on Fox 5. Not a sponsor. God, I always wanted to sound professional. The Cowboys bring in the New York Giants, and if the Cowboys need anything, go read my article, a NFC ass whooping. That is what is going to happen here today. The Dallas Cowboys, after losing last week to the Philadelphia Eagles, which they shouldn't have lost, but they did, are going to come out and throw stuff at the Giants the Cowboys haven't done in years, like running the ball. We now have people who know how to do that. We have a competent second wide receiver. However, that Giants defensive line and linebacking crew is not excellent, very good. The Giants have to get pressure on Dak Prescott. Also, a note from Adam Schefter: the Cowboys did sign offensive lineman Tyler Guyton now to a $90 million extension. He will now be there for
Tyler
the.
Smith.
That's what I said. I said Tyler Guyton. They all know who I meant. He plays next to him. It's not my damn fault.
Same guy.
There are three Tylers on the team, and they all play within 5 feet of each other. I'm close. It's good. No, no, Mike's
It's
right. It
called the
is.
Tyler line.
Yeah, no, it's Tyler Smith. And the Giants' defensive line is tough. They have to get to Dak Prescott. They have to get to them early. But if Dallas can come out and run the ball and then start moving CD into the slot a little and get George Pickens going, who's going to be a key in this game, Dallas can blow this game out of the water 38-5. I'm saying a safety because Dak Prescott doesn't care with 1 second to go. And he just throws it out of
I,
bounds.
I think you just said the key to the whole offense. You've got to get George Pickens involved.
Yeah.
I thought last week they didn't do a good enough job of that.
They didn't.
As much as the Cowboy offense looked so much better with the motions and whatnot, I think they have to get Pickens going early. We know what happens sometimes when he doesn't get involved early. He will sometimes turn into TO and complain.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's a guy you have to get going early. You know what CeeDee Lamb is. I'm curious about the other side of the ball. No Deron Bland.
Yeah, he's out with a ankle injury.
Yeah. I'm going to presume they're going to put Trayvon Diggs out there on Malik Neighbors.
That is the plan. Is Diggs will follow Neighbors and could also be passed off during when he's on the slot.
So the Giants are not probably. The Giants are going to get Wan'Dale Robinson involved early, probably as well. Inability to run the ball. Andrew Thomas, I don't believe they've announced if he's playing or not. I think he was ruled as doubtful, but we'll see.
Uh, yeah, I mean
I,
we have another hour until they
we have an
lock
hour
everyone.
before we find out who's actually active and not.
Right.
But here's going to be the ultimate question because I thought
Okay,
Russell.
Anthony Johnson, Mike. I'm sorry, just is put on pup. He is undisclosed. He will not return until middle of October.
Who's that?
Anthony Johnson for the New York Giants.
Is Russell Wilson going to play better than he did last week? And if not, are we going to see some Jackson Dart today?
The Bill had brought up that question to us last week, and this is where Mike and I are on different sides of the ball. I would think it would be advantageous for them to get Jackson Dart at least in there. But I think they're going to use Jameis Williams if Wilson's faulty, even by the end of the first quarter. I don't think they're going to go 2 quarters. I think if Wilson is down a touchdown, Jameis Williams comes in for the second quarter, maybe even the third. And then if they're down major by the fourth, we'll see Jackson Dart.
Look, I don't think this is the game unless it's like a package play for Jackson Dart. If you look at the Giants' schedule, it's absolutely brutal.
Yes.
There's not really a safe landing spot for him. If you want to say week 5 at New Orleans is a landing spot, cool. The next week they play the Eagles. There's just not a safe landing spot for the kid.
No.
And it sucks because Russell Wilson reverted back to what he's been the past couple of years. And that's not a shot at Russell Wilson. That's just, hey, sometimes that happens with age, but he was dreadful last
Also,
week against the Commanders.
just updated Andrew Thomas, doubtful for today's game.
Yeah, that ain't good. That's your left tackle.
Correct. He is now listed as doubtful for the game, along with Raheem Nunez Roches.
Okay, the defensive lineman from Tampa Bay.
I didn't know he was from Tampa Bay, but yes, he is a defensive lineman. So and then as I just disclosed, Anthony Johnson Jr. is also out, and now all right, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles is now also out for the Giants. Linebacker, secondary side, more of a nickel dime package.
Got me on
And for
that one.
and for the Cowboys, as Mike mentioned, Deron Bland out with the ankle injury, and otherwise everybody else will be playing for Dallas today. So that is, but it is a big key injury. I can't honestly say who's going to take the second spot with Bland out. We'll see who they go with because they have a few options, but it'll be interesting.
I'll say this too. I don't know why the line is the Cowboys minus 5.5.
I always hated friggin' lines like that because it's obviously two field goals does it, but it's still a touchdown. Make it six if you want to do it. Make it 6.5. You want to make it a touchdown. Come on. Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game by 2 to 3 touchdowns, and they're going to run up the score because it's the Giants.
I don't disagree with you. If you're a betting person, I would take the Cowboys.
Yes.
All right. You hit on this one a little bit earlier. The Lions welcome back their former offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, and his new team, the Chicago Bears. Both teams looking to bounce back after division losses.
You got Ben Johnson coming back, and the question is, what's he going to have up his sleeve? You're coming back to face your old team. You're going to have a trick play in there or something, whether it be maybe a flea flicker or a good old naked bootleg, something like that, something fun. Just say, "Hi guys, I'm still a good guy." This is a game that the Lions, if they start off 0-2, there's something to be really concerned about because this is a team that, even from the end of the season last year, was predicted to be in the NFC Championship game. This team is too good to act this bad. Do you understand where I'm coming
The Lions can't start this year 0-2.
from? No,
Can't happen. And if you do and you go 0-2 in the division, it's tough to bounce back from.
absolutely.
I thought the Bears played well in the first half of Monday night, and then they choked that game away against the Vikings. Detroit, nothing went well last week. But I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. You've got to get Jahmyr Gibbs involved. You got to get him carries. I don't care. Let him touch the ball. He's your most explosive player. And that's saying something with Jamison Williams out there.
And I'm Ross St. Brown.
And I'm on Ross St. Brown. And then flip side, look, defensively, they had moments last week where they could have made some plays. Some of it was hurt by penalties. I think of the Brian Branch pick six that wasn't. Aiden Hutchinson's going to have to get to Caleb Williams a little bit today.
Aiden Hutchinson has to be way more involved today.
That being said, this team responds to Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lions probably had a good week of practice. I like the Lions today to bounce back.
I think I've had the Lions this week. I think it might set it right there. They have to bounce back. You don't go 0-2, especially in the North. That's gonna produce two, maybe. I mean, the way things go, two, maybe three playoff teams could come out of the NFC North this year.
That's true. If you want to be one of them, you got to win this game. We also got a Super Bowl 40 rematch in Pittsburgh as the Steelers will host the Seahawks. This is a big one for the Seahawks.
The Seattle Seahawks are not anything near what they were a year ago. They are dismantled. They are rebuilding. They have a nice running back duo with Charbonnet and Walker. I'm going to say that. Um, and nothing against Jackson Smith Ninjigba. I think he's a good. He reminds me a lot of Tyler Lockett when he started out in the league. That's what he reminds me of. I think he's gonna have a long career in Seattle. My thoughts that they ended up turning that quarter is when they let DK go. The moment DK went to Pittsburgh, it's like all that energy out of Seattle left because DK was the playmaker, and we DK didn't have an amazing week last week against the Jets, but he did good. This is a prime time matchup for DK, in which he's going to say, "You missed me." Aaron Rodgers to DK Metcalf, 2 touchdowns today, 100 yards plus.
I think the other thing that's interesting is this. We talked about how the Steeler defense is going to have to respond after last week. I remember they played Justin Fields, who's got some mobility. Sam Darnold's not mobile.
No.
And that Seahawks offensive line over the years has been questionable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think TJ Watt's licking his lips right now?
This is a prime game for TJ Watt to get back on the leaderboard here. I mean, 1 sack is great. 2 sacks is difficult. I've seen 4 in a game. So
We'll see what happens. But man, Seattle's gonna have to run the ball, keep Darnold upright, see what happens there. And we also know Aaron Rodgers against the Seahawks is always a fun game.
this is true.
All right. We have a Super Bowl rematch from last year's. The Chiefs will host the Eagles. Mark's not looking forward to it.
I mean, it is the if I'm not a Cowboys fan, it is the game of the day really that you want to watch. I mean, you're going to see a new Kansas City Chiefs team against a weird Philadelphia team, in my opinion. I honestly hope KC beats them just because the Eagles are in the NFC East, but it's week 2. I'd be more
Yeah.
interested in this game if it was week 8 or week 9. No offense to whoever did the scheduling. Actually, wait, there was offense to that. Take it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I wish this game was later in the year too. I got a question. Who's catching passes from Mahomes today?
With Xavier Worthy has been confirmed out. So, and Travis Kelsey's role has been so diminished. Is it? I don't know. Is it Jude? I don't even know if Juju's still there. That's a funny line. Sorry.
Juju is there.
Oh,
So
okay, there you go. There's who he's throwing
they're going to
to.
rely on Juju today? Like, that's the plan?
Uh, I mean, obviously, when you think of Philadelphia, when you think of the Kansas City Chiefs, you had, Worthy and all that in your mind, so you knew which way. And Rashee Rice, until he had his problems. And now you're looking at Nico Remigio, Hollywood Brown, and Traquan Thornton. Those are your 3 receivers. And Travis Kelsey, of course, along with Juju.
Yeah, that's just
However, if anybody can make someone into a star, Patrick Mahomes could.
Patrick Mahomes could. And the other side of the ball, though,
Oh,
Kansas City's defense better be on high alert after what happened in the Super Bowl. So, see what happens there. All right, Sunday night we got the Falcons and the Vikings. Could be a fun game.
You got number one pick versus number one pick, who really wasn't supposed to be a number one pick.
Well,
At least
also,
not that high.
also rematch between the quarterbacks of the national championship game a couple of years ago when Michigan beat Washington. So there's that.
You got JJ McCarthy, Skull, along up against the great and wonderful Michael Penix. The reason why that took me so long is I forgot his name for half a second.
And
Penix
with,
needs to get Bijan involved early, where it was short screened and get that defensive line up. You want to have success against Minnesota, you have to prove you can run the ball, or Minnesota's going to eat you up.
the other matchup I'm looking forward to in this game, AJ Terrell and Justin Jefferson.
That is the matchup of the day. I mean, not to take anything away from anybody else, any other matchups. That's your matchup of the day right there. Gonna be interesting.
We'll see what happens there. Atlanta looking to go to 1-1. The Vikings looking for 2-0. And then for some reason we get a doubleheader on Monday night tomorrow. We get the Bucks and the Texans and the Chargers and the Raiders.
The Chargers and the Raiders. I'm with me, unfortunately, with two kids, I have to get them up and ready for school. Being able to watch that full game is going to be sucky, but that's the game I'd rather watch. Tampa Bay and Houston. I'm sure Houston's going to end up coming on top in that game because that loss last week was so uncharacteristic. But no, Herbert versus the Raiders. That's going to be more interesting. I still think the Chargers will go up be 2-0 at the end of that one.
Yeah, the Raiders though. I mean, the way they were able to pull that game out in New England. Pete Carroll looks like he's got a lot of influence there. So I'm not going to count the Raiders out just yet. But as for the first game, that Bucks Texans game, the Texans better respond because they laid an egg against the Rams last week. So they need to respond. Not sure they do it against the Bucks, but we'll see. But they're lucky they're in the AFC South and no one's going to run away with that division. All right, Mark, I got two rapid fire questions for you.
Okie dokie.
All right. Who do you have more faith in going forward? Michael Penix or JJ McCarthy? So basically, who would you rather have?
I go with JJ. And my reasoning forward is the fact that he's starting fresh, kind of, where Penix is trying to have to prove over the fact that he knows if he has a bad first quarter, Kirk Cousins is right there. So give me JJ. A lot of less pressure on him.
All right. And then who would you be more concerned about if they start 0-2? The Lions or the Texans?
I think we said this earlier. It's the Lions.
Yeah.
Being NFC champs, it's not, and it's still possible they could go back. It's just only one team has ever gone 0-2 to the NFC Championship game and on to win the Super Bowl, and that would be the 93-94 Dallas Cowboys. So, I mean, if they were to go to 0-2, they still have a chance, but you would think a lot of things would have to change.
I'll say this. I would add a third team to this list, but if they lose today, there will be a lot of hell to raise. That would be the Baltimore Ravens. If Baltimore loses to Cleveland today and goes to 0-2, oh boy.
I mean, it depends. Obviously, we can't say what's happened. The game hasn't happened yet. It's going to depend on that Baltimore defense. That Baltimore defense, I mean, you're not playing a really hardened Cleveland offense here, but that Baltimore defense has to keep points off the board.
And by the way, Cleveland, I wouldn't talk about how hard it is to tackle Derrick Henry when you have to do it today.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Why would
we
you
all,
poke that bear?
yeah. To quote to quote Michael Rome, he's a coke machine with legs. What he is.
I thought you were going to say he's cocaine bear.
No, that Mike Rome didn't say that.
All right, Mark, who would be your fantasy player of the day?
I'm very biased on this. It is at 1 o'clock. He wears number 4. Dak Prescott, 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. Let's go, Cowboys.
One of my fantasy teams would love that stat line.
Do you have Dak Prescott?
I have Dak Prescott as a fantasy quarterback.
Wow, that's a shocker.
Eh, why not? I got Pickens in another league.
Well, I had Pickens last year, so
All right. I'm going to go with the guy the Cleveland Browns may have poked. I'm going to go Derrick Henry. I know he had that great game last week. I don't know why Cleveland talked smack to try to light a fire under him, but I think they did for no good reason. And I think Baltimore wins big today. All right, Mark. We have not I don't think this has been posted yet, so I'll let you review Summer's picks.
sure. So the video just released this morning.
Oh, it did.
Summer, who, yes, Pat's just texted me. The Patch man got it done first thing this morning and released my puppy's picks. Summer, as we did the first one a little fast, we're going to do a little bit better next week, but we wanted to get it done. Summer's our puppy, and what we did is five. We picked 5 games out of the till, and these games were kind of based on network teams' favorites. That's how we did it. So our first game is San Francisco at New Orleans. Summer picked San Francisco. We had Chicago at the Lions. Summer picked Chicago. We had the Jets. Summer picked the Jets. Dan, you should be happy. I know you're working on your car and you're getting it fixed, but Summer's pulling for the Jets. Sorry, Bill. She's a Cowboys fan. Summer had picked the Dallas Cowboys, and Summer picked the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So to wrap that up, it's 49ers, Bears, Jets, Cowboys, Chiefs. Money line is 50 to 1 odds. Go get your bets in because you know we did.
No betting apps are sponsors of the show or the network.
That's why I didn't mention which one it was on.
I might as well just cleared us.
Yeah.
Anything on the dugout?
The dugout will have a one-on-one coming out this week as Charlotte will be preparing for her next one as we're getting ready to head into the fall run of the dugout. So Charlotte will be coming in with about a 50 card one-of-one.
All right. That'll do for the week 2 edition of the Sunday Sideline Report. Check us out every Sunday as we preview the NFL action. Comment, like, subscribe here on the YouTube page. I believe Dan and Bill will be doing SIP tomorrow. Tuesday, we'll be debuting a recap show based on what takes place this week in the NFL. Time to be determined. Go to the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, planes, trades, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials, Facebook, The Sports Insanity Network, Twitter, Insanity Real. For the old ops guy, I'm Mike Rifkin. We'll talk to you all again next week. Enjoy week 2, everybody.